So, I've been back and forth on whether or not to make this video right now or to wait a minute, but since the source content is available on the test center and most of you seem to be pretty interested in it based on the number of messages I've gotten saying, hey, Elektra's on test center, I figure I sort of have a duty to put this out even though it's not ready yet. This is Elektra. We're on the test center. It is in a very, very early state, and I don't really like making videos of characters this early in their development. Um, Although I have before, and probably will again, because the hype factor. You guys really want to see this as soon as it's up, even though it's really not ready. And the reason I don't like making the videos this early is because I make a video, it's there forever. I mean, I guess I could take them down, but that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I make a video, it's there forever. People come back to it, years after the character has been released and say, hey, she doesn't do that anymore. They fixed that. It doesn't work that way. This looks bad. And it provides this sort of negative impression of the game later, and that's not in any way what I want to do. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's just look at Elektra. Just know that as we go through this is a very early look at the character, and many things are in development. Some things have already changed internally, and if you have any feedback, then please let the devs know. I will again provide a link to the test center forums where you can leave some feedback on either what you see in this video or what you've tested yourself on the test center. And yeah, alright, let's hop in. Synergies. We've got, no, that's Daredevil. He's changed his, because they show the costumes now in the synergy. No, his default costume changed. That's why he's different. All right, right. Moving on. Sorry, sidetracked here. Level 25, 2% physical damage. Level 50, 3% damage versus bosses. That's going to be pretty solid. For any physical heroes, you're probably going to want to take this, because you usually took the Squirrel Girl synergy here for that 4% boss damage. So Elektra is going to give you that 3% plus some extra physical. Physical heroes definitely going to want to take that synergy. Alright, I'm not going to show off her skills here like I normally do, because there is a special mechanic for Elektra that we're going to talk about. But using the training dummies here would be silly for her skill preview. So let's go in and find green terminal, just Fisk Tower, because I like this place for this kind of stuff. Alright, so I talked about this core mechanic. This is her sort of thing. It's called Marked for Death. This is also going to give you some passive damage rating, some crit damage and crit hit, and some accuracy. It's also got this effect called Mark, and if you use this actively, you will mark an elite or boss enemy, enabling various bonus effects on your powers. Up to 5 enemies can be marked at once. This skill does not break stealth, and you gain 1 charge every 3 seconds. Restore 1 mark when a marked enemy is defeated, and every 3 seconds. So you're pretty much always going to be able to use this if you're using your marks properly, unless you just find a whole bunch of elites and spam mark on all of them. You're not going to run out of charges for your mark. In addition to applying it directly, there are a number of ways that you can apply mark sort of indirectly, like Slip into Shadows here has apply a mark to an elite or boss enemy when you hit while in stealth or invisible. So anytime you go into stealth and then hit an elite or a boss, you're going to apply that mark. You've got your not even in the stars, your signature move, which automatically applies mark to any boss or elite enemy you hit. You've got a number of other ways to apply mark. We'll go through them as we get to them, but just know that Marked for Death activated manually is not the only way to apply Mark. And what does Mark do? Well, we'll go through it, I guess, with each skill. Let's start with Psy Strike here, and each ability is going to have some kind of... I'm actually going to come back to this Blossom of Death, and it's a little bit bugged right now, and makes the size go away. Alright, so we'll start with those. Yeah, we're good. Alright, so with Psy Strike, we've got some physical damage. We've got Recover Stamina, which is her spirit mechanic. She does not use spirit. She uses stamina, which regenerates always at a very fast rate. Sort of like it's actually the same as Daredevil. And it's pretty solid. Alright, but also when you hit a marked enemy, you will regenerate some HP, I think. Yeah. Alright, let me put that back on the bar too. So I messed up my hotkeys here. Here we go. Alright, there we go. Now we've got things. I just wanted to pull out Mark for Death so I can mark people. Let me show that right now. See, anytime you mark somebody, you're going to see that those sighs over their heads. I don't know why this guy's not attacking me yet, but whatever. And now I can hit him with the... What is this? The size that I was using? Yeah. So anytime I hit him, that marked target, I'm going to regenerate HP. Now, normal enemies that are not elites, that don't have the HP bars over their head and all that, you're not going to do any special effects against them. You're not going to mark them. They die pretty easily. There's no reason to mark them. But for these big guys, you're going to want to make sure you're hitting them while they're marked, so you get those bonus effects on your skills. And that's sort of how marked works. Alright, let's move on to the next skill here. We're going to skip over Blossom of Death and Santazukan Strike for now because they use a different weapon. And when they use that weapon, they make the size that I'm using disappear. That is a bug right now and will be fixed in a future iteration of Test Center. But I just want I want to go through these size skills and then we'll come back to the staff skills because the size will probably disappear. Alright, Shadow Strike is the next skill. It's going to do some physical damage and it's going to stun when I hit a marked target. Let's see if we can go find a marked target here. Yeah, there we go. We got these guys. And so, there. One marked, one not marked, so you can see the difference there. One of them got stunned, one of them just got hit. Seems like the guy that wasn't marked took extra damage. I guess one crit and one didn't. That's probably it. But anyway, pretty easy to use skill. Just a sort of crash down with a stun component on it. 6-second cooldown there. Alright, next we've got the deadliest of all assassins. Physical damage, extra crit chance, and extra crit and brute damage when this power hits a marked target. So again, this is sort of your single target spirit spender or your single target stamina spender in this case. You're going to want to, or your left click skill, you're always going to want to make sure that you're hitting a marked target with this because you're going to get that critical and brutal damage. It's going to hugely affect the amount of damage that you do with this skill. There he is. And oh, that was the ultimate or the signature or something. Yeah, that was not even the stars. So let's mark this guy. And that was the other skill. Wow, I'm really bad at this. Hotkeys are hard. Okay, it's on 3. It's on 3, guys. Okay, so I mentioned you can mark targets by hitting them when you're stealth. My dash skill makes me stealth. So you saw that mark there real quick. And let's see, there. I've marked him because I hit him while I was stealth. That's another way you can mark him. Now let's go with the deadliest of all assassins. That skill. It does extra crit and brute damage when you hit a marked target. It's very, very difficult to show skills off when the targets fight back. Alright, let me just zoom in for the animations here on deadliest of all assassins, which are by no means finalized, so I don't know why I'm focusing on them. Anyway, let's move on to not even in the stars. It's going to do some physical damage. It's just going to wipe out a small AoE of enemies, and it's going to mark any elite targets. Here we go. It's on 4. Okay, there you go. So she dashes back and forth, sort of like the way Daredevil's ultimate, which summoned her before. She did something very similar. That's really cool, seeing that her signature being what she uses during his ultimate. Kinda cool. Alright, moving on, we've got Behind You, which can only be used on marked enemies. This and Throne Blade over here are two cooldown skills which share a cooldown, although they have different cooldowns. Like, this one has a 4-second cooldown, Throne Blade has an 8-second cooldown, but when they are used, they trigger both their own cooldown and each other's cooldown. So you can only use one of these, theoretically. I guess you could have both of them and try and use them at different times, but I'd only pick one, personally. Now, can only be used on marked targets, and it instantly destroys any non-boss enemies. So any elite enemies that you use this on, you're going to one-shot them with this skill. You're going to do some physical damage to bosses and to mini-bosses, and that will consume the mark as well. So you'll have to reapply the mark after using this skill. Alright, where is it at? It's on F. Let's see if we can use this. Alright, I've marked him. I marked that guy. Can I... only be used on marked enemies? I don't seem to be able to use it. It's a little funky right now. Alright, well, I know one way that I am able to use it because I was using it earlier, and that's to use this other skill first. This is From the Shadows, and it applies my mark to other characters. Like, if I hit a marked target, it spreads the mark. So I guess I have to do that right now. Like I said, this is Test Center. Things are bound to be bugged. Alright, so let's use From the Shadows here. That's going to spread my mark over there. Now they've got my mark on them, so I can use Behind Shadows, or Behind You, to hit them. So I guess they're different types of marks. But now I can keep using that. Behind You. He's marked. Can I hit him? No, he was my original mark target, so I can't hit him. Huh. It's very strange, very... again, this is I don't like making videos this early because lots of things are bugged, not working the way they should. But theoretically, you should be able to use Behind You on any marked target, not only targets that are marked via From the Shadows. Alright, now let's use the Blossom of Death skill here. The reason I didn't want to use this is because when I use it, my size go away, and I start running around with a bow staff at my feet. Yeah, okay. Alright, that's a little weird. But anyway, this is sort of like a bow staff that breaks apart into 3 parts, so it's sort of like half nunchucks, half bow staff. It's really cool. Really cool. Awesome weapon. And if you hit a marked target with it, then you're going to do a bleed effect on them. You're going to do some extra physical damage. Let's go mark somebody. Uh-oh, ninjas. I wonder if they'll come work for me or something like that. There we go. Alright, so we hit him and now he's bleeding. Done. And just wipe out all these guys. I love the animation here. I wish it was, cleaned up a little bit at the end so you didn't kind of get stuck in place after using it. Alright, so next skill we've got is another bow staff skill. It is Santazukan Strike, something like that. It does physical damage, and if you hit a marked target, you gain attack speed, stacking up to 20%. It looks like 1% for 3 seconds, stacking up to 20%. So that's pretty cool. And again, it is a bow staff skill, and using it at the moment makes the size disappear, which are your default weapon. So, but anyway, that'll be fixed. Can I be unstunned, please? Thank you. Alright, so I mark this guy, and as I hit him with this skill, I will get faster and faster and faster. It's a great boss damage skill because bosses usually have enough HP that attack speed matters. Now, if you're doing just, regular clearing, if you're doing Midtown or whatever, maybe you don't care about the attack speed. Maybe you just want to kill things as quickly as possible. And in that case, Deadliest of Assassins, the Psy skill, might work better for what you're doing, because this one just does straight up damage. It doesn't have any gaining, stacking power kind of effect like Santazuken Strike does. Alright, moving on to the ninja weaponry tree, we've got a wave of shurikens is first up here. Now we've been using Slip into the Shadows. That is her default right click skill. Now it does damage right now as you're passing through, but the devs have already said they're going to change this so that it plays a little bit better with her stealth mechanics. It will not do damage as you pass through. It will instead do... Wait, am I using the right thing? Oh, Flow Like Water over here. Well, it's got some interactions, so let's talk about Flow Like Water. Flow Like Water is my right click that I've been using. Just the dash. It dashes you from one location to the next. Has a knockdown on it. But they're saying they're going to change this, and what it's going to be is it's going to put you in stealth due to Slip into Shadows. So every time you use it, you're going to go into stealth. But it will increase the damage of your next attack instead of doing damage on its own. That way it'll play better with this effect here on Slip into Shadows, which is apply Mark on an elite or boss enemy when you hit them from stealth or invisible. Also, when you activate Flow Like Water, you enter stealth. That sort of will play very well with Flow Like Water, and you'll get behind the enemy, you'll hit them and boost the damage of whatever attack you use to hit them with, which will probably be Deadliest of Assassins, or might be one of these other skills. Maybe you want to, I don't know, if you could get it, if you could do From Shadows from stealth. I mean, it's called From Shadows, so why not, right? If you could come out of stealth with that ability and then mark the target and then From Shadows hits and then it spreads it immediately, that would be a great way to exit stealth. But we'll talk about more about From Shadows here in a minute. Alright, Wave of Shurikens, physical damage, and if you hit a marked target, it directs an extra shuriken at that target. Let's see if we can find some more. There we go. There's a few. Alright, so that guy's gonna get a directed shuriken. This guy's gonna get a directed shuriken. That other guy, not gonna get a directed shuriken. And you can see the guys that got marked died a lot faster. In fact, you do not want to use this skill against a target that's not marked if they're a champion or elite. It's great for, just clearing out little guys, though. Alright, next up we've got... Uh-oh. No. Stop that. Alright, next up, we talked about Slip into Shadows. It is a... it gives you some boosted damage rating versus enemies not targeting you. And it has an active effect that allows you to slip into shadows. So you just... Boom, I'm invisible. And this lasts for 5 seconds. 5-second duration, 25-second cooldown. Also gives you a huge amount of damage versus targets, a huge amount of damage, and you take tons of less damage. This is pretty crazy skill. That crit and brute, and the damage versus targets not targeting you. You're pretty much going to want to use this skill every time it's up, because not only will it boost your damage a lot, but it also cause you to mark targets when you hit them, so you don't have to mark them manually.
You don't scare me.
Alright. Next skill we've got is Thrown Blade. Again, can only be used on marked targets. Okay, I've got them on the right bar. So let's go find a champion and mark him. There's our champion. Let's clear out these guys first. Go away. Go away. Thank you. Alright, so he's marked, and we'll Throne Blade him, and he's dead. Alright, so that's pretty much Throne Blade, is any champion, it instantly destroys non-boss or mini-boss enemies. Against bosses, it's just going to do a lot of damage. It's a big high damage cooldown. Just mark and dead. I don't know why that amuses me so much, but it does. Just mark and dead. Alright. Now we've got Blow Dart here. An interesting skill. I didn't really expect to see anything like this, but alright. So physical damage, and then if you're gonna do a poison cloud when you hit a marked target. This effect triggers a 3-second cooldown for this power. So normally you can just blow dart, blow dart, blow dart, has no cooldown. But if you hit a marked target, it's gonna spawn a poison cloud, and I think I've killed all the elites in this area. Yeah, I have. So we're gonna have to go up. This is the Kingpin's office. So we're actually gonna go fight Kingpin right now. We got Blow Dart and Throne Blade. We'll be good, right? Hope so. Alright. So, if I hit a marked target like I did there, then I'm going to do some poison clouds.
What's the target?
Well, him. He's the big fat guy. Come on, hit him. I'm really, really doing bad right now. With just Blow Dart and Throne Blade, this is not the best build, guys. Not the best build, I'm telling you right now. Alright, let's get some real skills here. How about that one? Hey, that one. There you go. Did that mark him? That didn't mark him. Alright, let's get this skill and this skill and okay, alright, let's go. I'm stealth. Boom. Alright, now I can just punch him a bunch.
This is gonna hurt. And now I crush you.
And with that Throne Blade. Alright, there we go. They're done. Now I'll have to come back here. I'm not gonna worry about any of this loot because it's test center. We'll have to go spawn another zone so we can find some elites. What the? Why did it put me in the prologue? That was weird. Alright. Let's go back here. Now, we've got, we talked about Blow Dart, which is physical damage and does that poison cloud. Now we've got Cut a Swath, which is going to do some, I love this skill actually. I really like the way this skill works. I like to put together a build using this skill. It's going to do some physical damage twice per second, and it's going to do extra damage versus marked enemies. Here's Cut a Swath. Now, I'm not sure about the visuals here, whether or not they are in any way final, but they are really cool, and this is sort of like a very wide-range whirlwind type skill. And I can just cut a swath through the enemies. It's pretty great. Now, if I mark these and then spread the mark... No. Come here. Come here. Why is that not hitting? Oh, because he was in a different location. That's weird. Alright, well, anyway, there you go. Spread the mark, so they're all marked. Now I'm doing extra damage when I cut a swath through them.
Destroy what I please.
So there we go. Mark, spread mark, and oh, they're dead. Alright, well, anyway, we would cut a swath through them if they weren't dead. Very cool skill. Does use up some stamina though, so I'm not sure what you'd have to do to maintain the stamina. If you'd really have to do anything, I mean, stamina regens really, really fast. I'm not sure it's really ever going to be a problem for Elektra. I'm not even using the cost reduction medallion. I do have a bunch of like uniques that were easy to get on test center. All right, clean the air or clear the air, not clean the air. We're not the cleaning lady. It's going to do some physical damage, 3 hits physical damage. It's going to slow if you hit a marked target. It's also going to weaken if you hit a marked target. Alright, you're marked. And now you're slow. See? Yeah, there he goes. He's moving slow. Otherwise, it's just going to clear out a wide area of enemies very quickly with some high damage cooldown power.
What's the target?
Boom. Him. That guy right there. That's the target. Alright. Next up, we've got From the Shadows. We talked about that, I think, or we've shown this a little bit. Physical damage, and then apply mark to all nearby elite or boss enemies if you target a marked enemy. So it spreads the mark, and it's an incredible skill. It's probably going to be integral to every Elektra build, or every end game Elektra build, you know, being able to spread that mark, because you just have to apply it once, which you can probably easily do with Slip into Shadows and Flow Like Water. You know, you go invisible, you hit somebody once, it applies the mark, you hit them with From Shadows, it spreads the mark, done. This is, you know, sort of a cornerstone skill, I feel. It's just one more time. We've shown it a lot, but there we go. Boom, spread the mark to him. Alright, clear them out.
What's the target?
How about that guy? He's shooting us. Make him dead.
I've taken
there we
thousands. Go. What's another?
Sure, why not, right? Alright, next we've got Flow Like Water. We've been using this. It's a great teleport skill. Gets you from point A to point B, and that damage that it's doing, though, will be changed. The devs have already said the damage is going away, and it's probably going to instead boost the damage of the next skill you hit with. I really like that change. I imagine the community does too. I haven't read all the way through the feedback thread, though, so I don't know. Alright, passive effect is on Marked for Death here. It's going to do some damage rating, some crit hit and a crit damage. It's going to apply accuracy, and it's going to mark... Right, it marks the enemies if you use it actively, or it allows your other skills to mark enemies passively. So we've talked about Marked for Death there. There's the sort of full scaling. I guess that's 40 because I've got gear on. It's a little bit weird, and I don't think the numbers are quite tuned yet. So no point in really looking at that yet. All right, Silent Scream here is the next skill. It's going to do some mental damage. This is interesting. I think it's her only. Yeah, it is. It is the only skill in her kit that does not do physical damage. Now, this is early, and maybe this hasn't really been thought through yet, but with it being the only skill in her kit that does non-physical damage, it sort of tears the itemization a bit. You know, I think it should just do physical damage and make her a full physical hero. However, they have released a lot of just full physical heroes recently. Maybe they want a hybrid. But if they want a hybrid, they should probably have more than one skill that does mental damage. I don't know. Because you're going to have a lot of people saying, well, do I want Power Cosmic, or do I want to just spec her full physical? And Silent Scream, kind of a decent skill. Maybe I want to use it, but if I'm doing full physical, then it's not getting boosted by my damage rating. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to consider here. But anyway, there's Silent Scream there. It's just a big cooldown burst of mental damage. And if you hit a target that is marked, then you apply an irresistible stun. And that irresistible stun is sort of the reason that a lot of people, I think, might want to use this skill. Because 2 seconds of stun on bosses means 2 seconds of not getting hit by their damage, which is great. I don't know if this works on raid bosses or just like little bosses. It'd still be good in Cosmic Midtown or what have you. Next we've got Silent Approach, which is going to give her the option of using a just a basic run skill. There you go. It's a 1-point skill. I don't think that point is applied automatically. I think you have, yeah, you do have to spec into this, but you can only put 1 point into this. There you you go. You know, for those of you who want to run instead of teleport. I don't know, I teleport everywhere. Any character that has a teleport, I'm going to teleport everywhere. Alright, next we've got Hyper Awareness. It seems like a lot of this stuff is just passives. Hyper Awareness is going to apply some... is your defense passive. Deflect, total dodge. It's also got some regen on hit, giving her some nice, regen, and it's got a when defeated, you are instead revived effect on it. It's also your CC breaker, and it is a stamina restore. It restores 100% of your maximum stamina. So, now, so far, I haven't really noticed a problem with stamina. I haven't seen it drop below like 80%, even in sustained fights. But maybe if I get some testing more, then we'll see that, some actual stamina drain, and you might want to use Hyper Awareness. If I'm using Cut a Swath all day long, no, that's not Cut a Swath, which has a 73 point some odd percentage stamina drain, eventually I'll run out. So I'll want to use Hyper Awareness to restore that to 100% of your maximum stamina. Now, I don't really like CC breakers being on skills that have other effects, but Iron Man's CC breaker is also on a skill that restores a percentage of his spirit. So, if he's doing it, I guess it's fair for Elektra to do it. I don't know. Generally, I like the CC breaker just to be all by itself, and so when you need, it's never off cooldown because you used its other effect when you need it to break crowd control. That's why I like them to be on their own thing. But this is not really an issue. Like I said, she doesn't really have stamina issues in my experience, so you may not be using this to restore her stamina. Alright, and finally we've got At My Bidding here. This is a pretty awesome skill, and it has some interesting ways for you to change the way it works. At My Bidding will, just on its base effect, do damage to all marked targets. Again, if you are using from the shadows to spread... Here, let's do that. There we go. So we can spread, we can mark, we can spread, and then we can do damage to all marked targets with At My Bidding. Let's see what it looks like just normally. Get out of here. Alright, let's get a few marked targets on the screen here. If I can find any champions or elites. Really? There's a good pack. Alright. So, we'll pull them up here away from the windows so we can see them. Come on now. Up here, guys. Alright, so we mark that one. We'll spread it. They're all marked now. And now, At My Bidding causes ninjas. It only charged one of them. Interesting. Alright, they're both marked, right? That time it didn't even activate. Well, alright then. So, test centers, sometimes there's bugs. There we go. Alright, you'll notice when I use that skill, a ninja just pops out of nowhere and slashes the dude that's marked. Now, I believe this is supposed to attack all marked targets. I mean, it says it attacks all marked targets. If you don't have any marked targets and use the skill, it's just going to eat the cooldown and do nothing. That's one thing I can confirm. Alright. So yeah, it seems like right now it's only doing damage to one of the marked targets. So that's probably a bug and will be fixed. But it has 3 specializations here, which allow you to change the way it works, sort of. Elite Assassins will, instead of summoning those little dudes, it'll summon Elite Assassins, which do 100% extra damage, and it reduces the cooldown of At My Bidding by 4 seconds, making a 4-second cooldown instead of an 8, which means you'll be using it a lot more, and assuming it works, that'll be awesome, because it in my opinion, it sounds like an awesome skill. Alright, let's get both of these marked targets here and see if we can... There we go. There we go. Alright, mark both of them. They're both marked. At my bidding, only attacked one. But it did do 100% extra damage, and it should have attacked this other guy too, I think. Yeah, there we go. At my bidding. Get him. It's a very cool skill. Like, conceptually. It does consume the mark when you use it. Because it consumes that mark to do 100% extra damage. If you're using the base version, it does not consume the mark. Alright, and then you've got two choices here. You've got Warrior of the Chaste or Mystic of the Chaste. And this will allow you to have a permanent summon. It has been already stated that these guys, right now they're only 10-second cooldowns and 10-second durations, which is still 100% uptime. You know, he's going to go away here, but then it's already off cooldown. So that's 100% uptime. What they're going to do is they're going to change it so it's just permanent. He stays out, he fights by your side all the time. And then after you've summoned him, or after you've summoned him the first time, this at my bidding will just do the base effect. And it would be cool if it also caused your chosen warrior, either the warrior or the mystic, to perform a special attack as well. That'd be kind of cool. I know the Mystic of the Chaste could... one of the things that's really cool from the Hand Clan is when they throw out the poison vials or something. They throw out this poison vial that splashes on the ground and there's a poison cloud. Those are really cool, guys. Alright, let's see the Mystic of the Chaste. What's he do? He channels energy that does nothing. He waves his hands in the enemy's face. Again, test center, guys. Test center is test center. He's stop! Don't attack! Stop! That's very effective. Very, very effective there. Excellent. Stop! Don't be mean. Quit it. He's just like waving his hands in the air. Stop! Alright. Alright, let's see. Does the Warrior of the Chaste at least attack enemies right now? I'm sorry. This will all be, like, different eventually, but it just amuses me that guy just... Stop! Maybe he was healing me. Maybe that's what was going on. I don't even know, man. But anyway, those will be your choice of permanent summons. They will, either the Warrior, probably going to be a very offensive, in-your-face sort of permanent summon and sidekick kind of guy. Or the Mystic, sort of ranged and maybe has a healing effect, might increase your regen. That would be kind of cool. I don't know, but we'll have to see what at my bidding becomes. Like I said, this is test center, and a lot of things aren't done yet. Alright, so the ultimate. I've seen on the forums that this is very, very placeholder. The animations are supposedly not done, damage not tuned, any of that. But let's have a look at the ultimate, which is called Dance of Death. Uh-huh, you're gonna crush us? There we go.
This defeat means...
Alright, so she's like... That was actually kind of cool.
Now that our debts are settled, Kingpin, you may fall.
If that was the... There was no sound there, but if that was the placeholder animation, that was pretty cool. She just, like, pulls out these huge whip chain kunai things and just does this awesome dance of death. Very, very apt name there. All right, I like that. I like that. If they just, you know, refine that a bit, I'd be happy with it. It did sort of, it blocks your movement, and that's a little strange. You know, it sort of locks you in place for using it. But then there are other ultimates that do wide area damage that lock you in place for a second when you do it. But it seems like a skill like that you'd be able to move when you did it. Sort of like, well, sort of like how we want Nightcrawler's ultimate to work if they haven't changed that already. It's been forever since I played Nightcrawler, so they may have actually made his ultimate awesome. I can't remember. Anyway, that was Elektra. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below, and be sure, I'm going to have a link to any feedback threads. Remember, this is very early, and if you've got anything that you want to see that you think could be better, then leave some feedback on the feedback forums and help the devs make this character awesome. And we'll see what she becomes over the next week. I mean, we've got Easter here, right? So we might not have a whole lot going on over the weekend, but next week they'll be reading all of those feedback threads and doing some more iteration on the character, in addition to stuff they've already got lined up, which is a number of changes to skills like Flow Like Water. And we'll see what they do then. I'll probably just, the day before the patch, I'll make another video that goes over all of the things that have changed since this initial video. I don't know. We'll see. That's future me's problem, and he may or may not do it. Alright, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take it easy. Have a good one. Peace.